What's up, everybody? Coach Tony from Bombeck Strength, and today I'm going to talk about your 3 grip options when you're deadlifting and the usefulness of each one. So when we're deadlifting, typically people start with a double overhand grip, which is typically the best way to build up grip strength. It's the best way to lift while you're doing lighter weights, and eventually you're going to want to switch over to a mixed grip to be able to preserve holding on to heavier weights. But with double overhand, it just means both palms facing down towards you and grabbing the bar and lifting like so. This is the most symmetrical way, and people tend to get worried about having some sort of imbalance by always doing double overhand, mixed grip one way or mixed grip the other way. In my opinion, you're holding onto the bar for such a short amount of time that you're not really going to develop any sort of appreciable asymmetries by going with a mixed grip. But if it is a concern to you, or if you have some sort of injury history, like a bicep injury, for example, that makes it more challenging or even a little bit dangerous to go with an underhand grip, then going double overhand could be your best option. If going double overhand is limiting the amount of weight that you can use, then using straps is going to be a really, really good idea. And anybody besides a competitive powerlifter who's not allowed to use straps in competition should be using straps in training so that your grip doesn't fail before the target muscle group, like your glutes and hamstrings. So double overhand, definitely a great option for people as they're warming up to heavier weights before switching to a mixed grip, which means one hand over, one hand under. And what this does is this prevents the bar from rolling, because when you lose your grip in a deadlift, the bar just doesn't go straight down. The bar rolls down and out away from you. As your grip starts to fail on a deadlift, it goes from your smallest finger to your biggest finger. And as you can see, the bar is spinning backwards towards me. So there's kind of like this outward motion. When you use a mixed grip, what that does is it prevents that rotation of the bar, which is why an over-under grip, a mixed grip, makes it so much easier to hold on to the bar. Which side should you use? It really is just personal preference, but oftentimes what you'll see is if you ask people to hold both their palms up like so, one hand will be able to turn over much more than the other. So you can see my right hand turns over a lot further than my left hand. My right hand is my underhand grip for my deadlift. If I were to try to go the other way, because I can't turn this left hand over as much, I would have to kind of twist my body or even bend my elbow a little bit to get in position, and that's obviously not going to allow me to display good deadlift technique. So I use the same right hand under, left hand over all the time. And I think it's very important, if you do use a mixed grip, the order with which you grab the bar can be tremendously helpful. Now, if you just grab the bar with both hands touching the bar at the same time, that's all well and good. But if you do one versus the other, I highly encourage you to grab with your underhand side first. The reason being for that is when you turn your hand under, it's a lot harder to engage your lat, so to stiffen your upper back and take the slack out of the bar. So if you do your underhand side first, it can make it a little bit easier to get that lat engaged. So I set up for my deadlift, I take my underhand, grab the bar, take the slack out, then square up again with my overhand, and it's a lot easier to get my body square than if I did vice versa. So that's a mixed grip. The third and final option would be to use a hook grip. So hook grip meaning that double overhand, but you're putting your thumb between the bar and your first 2 fingers. This is what weightlifters use. A lot of really great deadlifters who are lifting tremendous amount of weights, so they truly have a grip issue, will use a hook grip. And I don't personally use the hook grip, so this is really more anecdote than experience. But what I've heard great hook grippers do is they're not trying to get their thumb all the way to the end of their hand. They're really just trying to get their first 2 fingers on like so. So I take that thumb, I wrap my index and my middle finger around that thumb, and I don't grab too tight. I just kind of let the weight of the bar hook into my fingers, and it's pretty uncomfortable. It can be a pretty aggressive feeling against the skin of your thumbs, but if you just get used to it and you kind of build up that tolerance, that hook grip is really going to lock that bar into place. The chances of you losing your grip are pretty minimal. So the people who tend to benefit the most from hook grip are, again, people who might have some sort of bicep injury where it's not an option for them to go double overhand. Also, you tend to see sumo deadlifters at the highest level of powerlifting do well with a hook grip. And the reason for that is that when you're sumo deadlifting, there's a lot more contact between your hand and your thighs than in conventional. So you'll often see sumo deadlifters get their hands pulled open by that friction, and having that hook grip while you're doing sumo can help prevent your legs from tearing your hand open and losing your grip. So 3 options: double overhand, mixed grip, hook grip. All have their pros and cons in certain situations, so you pick your grip based on what you're trying to accomplish with your deadlifts.